G-Man Boxing. Do you know what I mean? Every single live he donates. I see him on other lives donating. He's got the bag on it.
Alright, people. We got a fight this weekend. We got an undisputed fight this weekend. But before I talk about this, if you're new to the channel, if you've just come across it, if YouTube's been so kind to recommend me in the algorithms, welcome. If you could, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the old notification bell. We gotta talk boxing. So, this weekend, it's Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant. This fight is for the undisputed 168-pound title. So Canelo was defending his WBA, WBO, and WBC super middleweight world title. Caleb Plant has the IBF. Now, despite this being a unification for undisputed, Canelo Alvarez is a resounding favourite, and for good reason. You know, between him and Alexander Usyk, you can have them in whatever order, but the general consensus amongst most fans is they're number one and number two. Whatever order you want them in, respectively, it's really up to the person's, own choice, whatever order you want them. But kind of recognise that they're the number one and number two. So Canelo was coming into this fight. I mean, he had that fight against Billy Joe in May. He's been quite active, it has to be said. This is Callum Smith, this is his fourth fight. Callum Smith, Yilder and Billy Joe, now Plant within a year. That's pretty good going for a world-class fighter who's making serious money. I mean, it is quite remarkable when you think about it. Most fighters who are making the kind of money Canelo's getting, twice a year max. This guy to have 4 fights, and he may very well have had more had this fight happened in September, when it was originally they were trying to pencil it in. He may very well be back out again in December, or had have been back out in December if it happened back then. Now, I'm going to talk about what I think both guys need to do to win this fight. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I really see this as an uphill battle for Callum Smith. Canelo is a resounding favourite, for good reason. Caleb Plant, and I hope I didn't say Callum Smith just there, but Caleb Plant, there's been certain performances where he's looked good in parts, but there's been a lot of red flags in those performances as well. I think Caleb Plant, if he wants to give himself the best chance of winning this fight, he's going to have to use what advantages he has. He's got the longer reach, and he's much bigger and taller than Canelo. Okay? Billy Joe Saunders was about 5'10", 5'11", give or take, in around that. And he was able to move, get in the back foot, win a couple of rounds, no doubt, caused Canelo a few issues, all right, until he made one mistake where he kind of ducked down and into an uppercut. Now, Caleb Plant is longer. I don't think he's as good a mover as Billy Joe, but he can certainly move. He certainly can. I'd be saying to Caleb Plant, on the back foot, do not engage with Canelo. And when he just be moving on the back foot, you'll see it. Specifically, you'll see it in fights like against Usyk, like against Truax, fights like that, where at times he's moving very well. He's sticking a jab out, he's keeping it at range, but he lets his opponents get on top of him and get him backed up against the ropes and land shots on him. For example, Caleb Truax was able to land, I want to say, a worrying amount of right hands on Caleb Plant in their fight. Now, it wasn't, as I say, worrying. It was worrying the fact that he couldn't really adjust to it. It wasn't the case of he was getting hit with every right hand Truax. True, he wasn't. But when a shot's coming from the same angle repeatedly, and you're not really adjusting to it to an extent, and you're still taking it, it's a bit of a worry. Now, Plant is going to need to move, and just try and keep Canelo at bay. Canelo Alvarez's head movement is incredible. It really is. So much so that people like Danny Jacobs, who are very good long-range boxers, have a very good jab, struggle to even land the jab on Canelo based upon the head movement. Now, at that time, Danny Jacobs was probably in his prime or close to his prime. And prime for prime, Danny Jacobs, from what I've seen, has proven himself to be a better fighter. Certainly when they were at the best. Right now, you might even say Danny Jacobs has probably seen better days, given by his last performance. But Danny Jacobs still lost that fight, still was hardly able to land proper jabs on Canelo. Certainly early on anyway. When Canelo Alvarez slowed down a little bit later, yeah, he did find a bit more range, as you saw with the left hooks he was landing. That big left hook in the night round he landed on Canelo. Plant's going to need to keep this at range, stay on his feet. Now, an issue with Caleb Plant that has been noticed, over the years, is that he does tend to fade. Noticeably in the Hughes Cascai fight. That was really, really noticeable in that fight, how he was able to fade. Now, bear in mind, he's not fighting these fights at a frantic pace. It's not like you're looking at Caleb Plant and you're turning around and saying, alright, he's gassing a bit in the end. But bear in mind, he's fought this fight, he's thrown this many, he's not done that. And he's not moved excessively that you would turn around and say, okay, he's moving excessively, hence the reason why he's not doing that. A lot of the times in them fights, he actually is standing a bit. So, I question his gas tank. And, as I said, if he wants to give himself the best chance of beating Canelo, he's going to be moving a lot, right? Not excessive, but he's going to keep on his toes and keep moving away, all right? And keep circling, all right? Now, if his stamina lets him down, trying to do that, it's going to be nightmares for him. It's going to be absolute nightmares for him. He really does need to box the absolute perfect fight. And even then, you can't guarantee that it's enough. Because Caleb Plant he hasn't shown himself to be a devastating puncher. So it's not like you're thinking, okay, well, he can box good for these rounds and maybe walk Canelo onto something. Canelo's shown a very good chin. Caleb Plant's not shown devastating punching power. Certainly not world level punching power anyway. So you kind of think Caleb Plant's really going to need to box the perfect fight. If you're Canelo Alvarez, one of the complaints we've had about him over the years is that his feet are quite slow. Now, I don't think they're... Well, I say that I don't think they're as slow. It could be the fact that he's moved up in weight and the fact that, someone who weighs 168 pounds or fights in that division is not going to have as quick a feet as an Erislandy Larva at 154 pounds. So maybe it's not the fact that Canelo's feet have increased in speed necessarily. It's maybe the fact that the foot speed of the opponents has decreased. So it's much more even playing field. Canelo on the front foot is okay. He can cut the ring off to an extent. He can pressure okay to an extent. He's going to need to be doing that against Caleb Plant. He's going to need to be doing it. Now, when he fought Sergey Kovalev just jabbed. Really just mainly jabs. That was a fight where Canelo was a bit reluctant, I think, to really take unnecessary risks until late on in the fight. We might see something like that, or if he doesn't feel a perceived threat from what's coming back from Caleb Plant, he might just say, do you know what, this guy's not really hitting hard, I'm confident in my chin, I'm going to put it on this guy. If he does, he is going to want to try and back Caleb Plant up to the ropes and let loose some of them body shots. If he does that, because he's a wicked combination puncher, not just the head and body, Canelo Alvarez is, and he can switch it up very effectively. One of the shots that I always remember from Canelo, excuse me, was the shot he knocked out Liam Smith with, and just the subtle little way he set it up. You go back and watch that fight. What he did was he was able to get up against the ropes. Now Canelo was up against the ropes, and he threw a little kind of nutted left hook to Liam Smith's head, which brought the arms up. So Liam Smith saw the left hook to the head coming, and instantly as the left hook was blocked, Canelo went straight down to the body and landed it perfect in the exposed body. Now, the setup for that punch was brilliant, and the way he done it was just fantastic. I can see him doing something similar to that. I can see him trying to keep Caleb Plant's head up, hands up high. I can see him trying to maybe throw a couple of lead left hooks to the head and then come straight back down to the body. Lest we forget, the way Canelo Alvarez's left hooks to the body are, because he leads with them sometimes, they're so effective, and the way he telegraphs them is so effective as well, that he's able to land to the head because they're expecting a left hook to the body. Because what he's done, and you'll see this, specifically the Triple G fight. Have a look, I think it was the second round in the second Triple G fight. Canelo was kind of dipping down as if he's about to throw a left hook to the body, one of the wide left hooks. And Triple G bites that, he reads it and bites it. So he moves his shoulders down. What does Canelo Alvarez do? As he leans down to throw at the body, moves back up and throws to the head. He's great at disguising shots, and those long looping left hooks he throws have an awful lot of power on him. I don't think Caleb Plant's going to be able to get away from any of them, and I think Canelo is going to tease him to head and body. I think he's going to try and set some up to the head and go to the body, and I think vice versa. I said it before, I say it again, I think it's an uphill struggle for Caleb Plant. I think for him to win this fight, he's going to need to box the perfect fight. I said that about Billy Joe, but with Billy Joe, I could see a scenario where he could do that because I think he's a better mover. I just think he's a better boxer than Caleb Plant. I know Billy Joe's stamina has been something we can question, but I think Caleb Plant has seemed a bit worse because Billy Joe, although he has faded in fights, Caleb Plant's fights haven't been fought at nowhere near a frantic pace, and he's still faded. If that's not addressed in this fight, if he can't get away from some of the loop and shots Canelo's going to throw, if Canelo gives him feints and Caleb Plant bites them, he is going to get lit up. I really can't see him winning the fight. I think Canelo was going to light Caleb Plant up like a Christmas tree, and I'm going for Canelo by stoppage. I'm just trying to think, will it be a clean knockout, as in he's down a couple of times and the referee waves it, or will it be a sustained beating that Canelo gives Caleb Plant to the point where maybe Caleb Plant says enough's enough, or the corner have a bit of pity and say, do you know what, we're going to have to pull you out. I think it could be one of the two. Alright, I think it could be one of the two. Canelo's last 2 fights have ended in the corner pulling the opponent out. I wonder if third time's the charm. Alright, because I honestly can't see any other way than a Canelo win. If I'm wrong, I'll be the first to hold my hands up. I'll do a review straight after this fight, and if I'm wrong, I'll say, boy, I got this one wrong. You know, I'll be the first to say that. I just can't see anything other than a Canelo Alvarez win. And if he does win, what do we do next? Where does he go from there? Does he go light heavyweight? I've heard a few people, and I even saw Ade say, Makabu, a cruiserweight? Could he dare? Maybe we'll talk about that some other time. For now, that's my prediction. Canelo Alvarez, I'm going, if you want me to give a specific round, 8 round, TKO, probably corner retirement. That's what I'm thinking of. That's my pick for this fight. Let me know yours. Do you think Caleb Plant can do this? Because if he really does do this, I mean, if Billy Joe had beaten Canelo, and I said it before, I could see a scenario where he could beat him. I could see a scenario where he gets to the end and maybe doesn't get the decision. I could see a few scenarios for that fight. This one, I'm struggling. I really can't say. Now, it's not as bad as the Yildirim fight, where literally I don't think anyone would have given Canelo or Yildirim a prayer. It's not as bad as that, but it's not good. You know, if Yildirim had a 0% chance of beating Canelo, in my opinion, I'd give Caleb Plant a 5% chance, if even. Seriously, that's how much I'm favouring Canelo in this fight. That's my pick. That's my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section. Be interested to know what you guys think. We're back. Old reliable. And I am going to work on the settings in here in the coming weeks and months. Believe you me. Around here is going to change a bit. It's definitely going to change a bit. I might not even do them in here anymore. I might change to a different room where I get the lighting in. We'll see how that works. But we're back and all reliable. I had a good few days off. Now we're back. Let me know your thoughts. Hope you enjoyed it. Peace.